Chapter 46:35. This is the plane of the small world in your body? Duan Lingtian came back through the small world in his body. After returning, this part of the small world that was transformed into the land of the gods was merged with the small world in his body. When he appeared, he was also region noticed this. Lei Hong's face was livid, and there was a bit of regret in his eyes. Careless. Why didn't I think of this? In fact, it's not that Lei Hong couldn't think of this, but because of the details about Duan Lingtian that Lei Hong captured the most powerful person in the god-defying realm earlier, and he also mentioned some of the details about Duan Lingtian. The Dixia family, a family that has a close relationship with Duan Lingtian. According to what that person said, the land left by the gods has always existed. The reason why Lei Hong didn't take too many precautions when he entered the land of the gods this time was also because he knew that the land of the gods hadn't changed much recently, and it was still the land of the gods. Because recently, he also went to arrest some high-ranking gods who walked out of the god-defying realm to gain knowledge in places outside the world. From those high-ranking gods, he learned that the Xia family is still in the land of the gods, and Duan Lingtian is also resident in the gods. The Xia family, the place left behind, has not changed much. It was in line with everything he knew about coercing the most powerful people in the god-defying realm. Under such circumstances, how could he possibly have thought that the god-relict land that already existed in Nishan realm would suddenly be dropped by the up-and-comer Duan Lingtian? This is definitely a game he made against me. At this moment, Lei Hong cursed secretly in his heart. It's really insidious. Now, he suspects that the existence of the 7th level Xian present, in addition to the known Duan Lingtian and his master Feng Qingyang, Meng Han from the Bibo Tianfu in the outer world is probably also there, and even the newcomer in the outer world Xian's 7th level powerhouse, Xue Qingzhu, was also recruited by Duan Lingtian to act in 9 out of 10. The purpose of acting is self-evident. It is to lure him into the trap, let his true self come to the god-defying realm in person, and then keep him in the god-defying realm forever. Perhaps Xue Qingzhu was not just here to act, but Meng Han helped Duan Lingtian find him to deal with Lei Hong. Lei Hong, since you're here, don't leave. Duan Lingtian sneered. Even if there is only one person present, he is absolutely sure to keep Lei Hong. Lei Hong's deity has entered the small world inside his body, and if he wants to get out, it will be harder than climbing to the sky. On the other hand, Lei Hong, facing Duan Lingtian who had just walked out, his face turned blue and white for a while, and then he gritted his teeth and said, Duan Lingtian, do you think you can keep me if you set up a trick to lure me into the bait? You think too much dash. Almost at the moment when Lei Hong's voice fell, he saw something suddenly appearing in his hand. It was a dead wood with black and golden light all over its body. As soon as it appeared, it exuded a palpitating aura, which also made Duan Lingtian frowning. In this dead wood, he clearly felt the strong power of space law. Even, not weaker than the law of space where he is currently. Not good. Seeing that Lei Hong took out the treasure of the law of space, Duan Lingtian's eyes narrowed slightly, and then he shot like lightning, and with all his strength, he swept towards Lei Hong, intending to keep Lei Hong in the first place. However, almost at the moment Duan Lingtian left, I saw his dark dead wood glowing with black and golden light suddenly cracked in Lei Hong's hands, and then burst out suddenly, extending a terrifying space force, covering Lei Hong's whole body inside, and then Lei Hong's body it gradually became illusory inside. At this time, one can vaguely see the headache on Lei Hong's face, which shows that the black dead wood is also a very important life-saving thing for him. If he hadn't felt that he was under the siege of the 4 most powerful 7th-level powerhouses and might lose his life at any time, he wouldn't have used this whole card in his hand. At the same time, when Duan Lingtian was ready to attack, Lei Hong's figure had disappeared under the shroud of space power, and Duan Lingtian's offensive only had time to defeat the space power that sent Lei Hong away. The space law of Dzogchen contains the infinite way above the 8th level, and the power of Xian above the 8th level. One shot missed, and Lei Hong was not left behind. Duan Lingtian tried to sweep out with his divine sense, smashed the surrounding space, and searched in all directions, but still did not find any trace of Lei Hong. Obviously, he was not only sent away, but maybe he was sent directly against God realm. This treasure, it is definitely left by the super strong before the historical partition. Now that it was confirmed that Lei Hong had run away, Duan Lingtian didn't chase after him anymore. His eyes fell on the deadwood fragments that turned into black star spots and gradually disappeared into the void. His consciousness extended over, and it was not difficult to sense a trace of familiar aura on it. The breath of the land of return. It can be seen that the black deadwood comes from the land of ruins, left by the strong before the historical partition. I didn't expect Lei Hong to have such a life-saving card. It is at least the 8th level of Xeon, and the treasure left by the Space Dzogchen powerhouse who has mastered the way of infinity beyond the 8th level. This point, Duan Lingtian did not expect. What Duan Lingtian didn't even expect was that Lei Hong would run away immediately, but Fan Lei Hong hesitated a little bit and was a little bit reluctant to use this life-saving thing. Just now he managed to keep Lei Hong. He really didn't expect that Lei Hong would be so decisive. Isn't he the only one? Lei Hong. He probably doesn't know his true strength. It is impossible for Duan Lingtian to think of. The reason why Lei Hong used his life-saving whole card without hesitation at the moment he was about to make a move after he appeared was because he thought that there were still 3 powerful 7th-level powerhouses lurking in the dark, and he was deeply afraid that he would be attacked and besieged lethal. Lei Hong already regarded this as Duan Lingtian and the others trying to catch him. If Duan Lingtian knew this, he would definitely be extremely wronged, because not to mention the scene, even looking at the entire God-defying realm, he was the only one at the 7th level of Xeon. The other side, Lei Hong, who had successfully escaped from birth, let out a long sigh of relief. The boat almost capsized in the gutter. Fortunately, I have a life-saving whole card that I got from a place where I returned to the ruins in the past. Pity. Such a life-saving means, such a chance, was used up so early. Lei Hong's heart was bleeding, but he also knew that at that time, he had no choice but to do this, otherwise he might die at the hands of the 7th rank of the 4 greatest powers due to a single thought. Duan Lingtian, one day, I will make you regret that you have offended me, Lei Hong. It caused me to lose my life-saving whole card, and the hatred between you and me is even greater. Even though Duan Lingtian not only showed the 8th level swordsmanship when he shot just now, but also showed the way of infinity and control, but because Lei Hong ran so fast that Lei Hong didn't notice it at all. Otherwise, he must now know Duan Lingshan's true strength. And if he knew Duan Lingshan's true strength, he would probably have the confidence to say this now. After Lei Hong escaped smoothly, Duan Lingtian quickly walked out of the Nishan realm and came to the place where Xue Qingzhu had an epiphany, but found that Xue Qingzhu was still enlightened there, and his master Feng Qingyang stayed aside like a patron saint. Consciousness sweeps the quartet and is vigilant around. Did something happen just now? Duan Lingshan's sudden departure was noticed by Feng Qingyang. Seeing him coming back at this time, he couldn't help but ask for a while. Duan Lingtian nodded. Lei Hong himself has entered the God-defying realm and the Xia family, the land left by the gods. Chapter 46-36. He actually went to the God-defying realm with his true self? He also went to the land of the gods? From Feng Qingyang's point of view, if Lei Hong dared to use his true self to enter the world against the gods and the land left behind by the gods, it would be tantamount to seeking his own death. You know, the land left by the gods is a part of the small world in his disciple's body, and he can return quickly through the small world in his body at any time. Lei Hong entered the land of the gods. If he used the normal channel of the teleportation array, his disciple might not be able to lock Lei Hong in the first place. However, as long as Lei Hong dares to do something, the power of the strongest 7th level, which is different from ordinary people, is enough to alarm his disciple in the first place and be locked by his disciple, and it can even be confirmed that he came this time. The avatar is still the deity. Have you left him? Regarding Duan Lingshan's strength, Feng Qingyang couldn't be more clear. It is not too difficult to keep an ordinary 7th level powerhouse like Lei Hong. Not to mention that Lei Hong went to the divine legacy, separated from the small world in Duan Lingshan's body. Place. But now, the reason why he asked this was because he felt something was wrong. Lei Hong, after all, is also a strong 7th order Xeon. If his disciple Duan Lingtian kills Lei Hong, logically speaking, there will definitely be a very astonishing phenomenon of heaven and earth on the Nishan realm. The vision of heaven and earth, accompanied by the pouring rain of blood, seems to be the anger of the sky and the hatred of the people. Although his true self is here, he still has a clone of the law in the God-defying realm, and he didn't notice anything unusual. Let him run away. Duan Lingtian shook his head, because his expression was so indifferent that his master Feng Qingyang couldn't see his mood, and he couldn't confirm whether Lei Hong was left behind by him. In Feng Qingyang's view, even if Lei Hong has not been killed, it is a good thing as long as Lei Hong is kept. After all, that is Lei Hong's real deity. Ran? However, what Ling Feng Qingyang never expected was that Lei Hong ran away. How is this possible? Then Lei Hong, is it possible that there are other tricks to suppress the bottom of the box? This was the first thought that came to his mind, and he asked aloud at the same time, because he always felt that this matter was not that simple. Under normal circumstances, with the strength of his disciple Duan Lingtian, he would definitely be able to handle the who broke into the God-defying realm, region of the land of the land. Duan Lingtian nodded, and then told the details of Lei Hong's escape one by one. For Lei Hong's decisive escape, he is still a little puzzled. Then Lei Hong is a little too timid, isn't he? He actually has the life-saving means left by the Xi'an 8th level powerhouse before the historical partition. Feng Qingyang sucked in a breath of air conditioning, and never thought that Lei Hong escaped with the help of the life-saving means left by the super-strong before the historical partition. It is also necessary to pay a considerable price to condense it in the special deadwood. With Lei Hong's means, even if I was there at the time, I'm afraid I can only watch him flee. Feng Qingyang sighed, and his words were quite regrettable. He was only a little bit close to leaving Lei Hong behind, so as to avoid future troubles. But he didn't expect Lei Hong to have such life-saving means. This time he is lucky, next time, he will not be so lucky. A cold light flashed in Duan Lingshan's eyes, with a murderous intent. I don't believe he can use such a life-saving method a second time. Before Lei Hong escaped, when he used the life-saving means, although he didn't show it on his face, there was a clear look of reluctance and determination in the depths of his eyes, and 9 out of 10 he didn't have the second piece of life-saving deadwood in his hands. And that thing is unusual, and it's normal not to have a second piece. He who inherited the memory of the old man Wukong knows very well how difficult it is to forge such a life-saving deadwood. At least he has to carry it with him for more than 10,000 years, and he can only breed one piece of life-saving wood at a time. Such things are usually used to save the lives of their closest descendants. Feng Qingyang smiled wryly. Let him escape this time. Next time he might not dare to go against the God realm easily. Duan Lingtian naturally knew this. However, he didn't care. That Lei Hong has stepped into the 7th level of Xi'an anyway. He really doesn't believe that Lei Hong can never shrink back. In other words, if Lei Hong really can't shrink back, even if there is no chance of killing Lei Hong in the future, he will admit it. Master, if the next person succeeds in enlightenment, his strength may not be inferior to yours. Duan Lingtian came back to his senses, looked at Xue Qingzhu who was not far away, changed the subject and said with a smile, when she wakes up from the epiphany and fulfills her bet to go to your place as a guest, don't waste your time and take her down as soon as possible, lest you have long nights and dreams. If she can't be my teacher's wife, I will be a big loser if I help her realize this. Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, Feng Qingyang glared at him angrily. Turn around and wait for fellow Taoist Xue's epiphany to come to an end, and you will also compete with me to demonstrate the 8th level sword art. You have hidden it so deeply that even I don't know that your sword art has gone further. That is, it has only recently broken through. Duan Lingtian laughed. After walking here for a while, seeing that Xue Qingzhu had no intention of waking up, Duan Lingtian didn't stay here any longer, as long as he had his master here. It happened that after Xue Qingzhu woke up, he found that his master was his guardian, and he was moved again. What Duan Lingtian didn't expect was that, on the 3rd day after he went back, another heavenly word appeared again. This time, the appearance of the heavenly Tao text was not to announce to the quartet that someone had broken through to the 7th level of Xi'an. It's an upgrade announcement about the function of the Babel Tower. From now on the side of all the entrances of the Tongtian Tower, there will be a second purple thunder winding exit. For those who have stepped into the strongest realm to enter and passed the checkpoint tests set by the Tongtian Tower in it, and they can gain insight into history, the law left by the Master, and the opportunity of the four ways of heaven and earth, in which practice can get twice the result with half the effort. All the most powerful people will appear in the exclusive independent space when they are transferred into it. The strength and soul realm in the body will also be limited to the realm of the upper gods, which will help to comprehend various laws, and will recover on their own after leaving the Tongtian Tower. Duan Lingtian couldn't help frowning after reading the heavenly Tao text. What's the situation? According to the meaning of the words of Tian Dao, is it intended to help a group of powerful people and saints quickly increase their strength? If it is said that the appearance of the heavenly Tao talisman in the past, he thought it was aimed at him and his master Feng Qingyang. Well, now that the new function of the Tongtian Tower has appeared, he feels that it is not only aimed at those who have just stepped into the 7th level of Xian, but also at the stronger half-step world venerable among the Xians. Half-holy, Jezun, saint, even targeting most Xians. Today's semi-saints and saints were basically invincible high-ranking gods among the high-ranking gods in the past. Why are you so reluctant to step into Xian? Isn't it because after stepping into Xian, the difficulty of comprehending the law will increase a lot? Therefore, more people feel that it is the wisest decision to comprehend the law of Dzogchen in the realm of high gods, and then step into the realm of power. But now, the appearance of these heavenly characters in front of us undoubtedly subverted the past cognition. In the future, the upper gods can step into the Xian realm at any time, and there is no need to consider the difficulty of comprehending the law will increase, because they have the Tiantian Tower to support them. They only need to enter the Tongtian Tower to retreat, and there are the laws left by the strong before the historical partition and the four ways of heaven and earth for viewing. Chapter 46:37. Now, it was not just Duan Lingtian who saw the heavenly words appearing at the end of the cracked sky. Even other people in 10,000 realms and even places outside the realm have seen it. For a time, the expressions on the faces of many half-step realm masters and realm masters from the 10,000 realms, as well as the half-saints and saints in the land outside the realm, became a little unsightly. Are you kidding me? In the past, when they were still high-ranking gods, the call to the supreme realm came many times. Because the laws had not yet understood the realm of Dzogchen, they were worried that it would be difficult to see the law of Dzogchen after they stepped into the supreme realm, so they could only forcefully stay in the upper realm. In the realm of gods, only after you have become the invincible high-ranking god and the call of the most powerful realm comes again, will you be willing to take advantage of the situation and step into it to become the most powerful. During that period, even if they knew that if they immediately stepped into the strongest position, they would be stronger than the average strongest person at the bottom, they still were not in a hurry to step into the strongest position. He is even willing to work under ordinary powerful people and grovel. Only they themselves know the hardship and bitterness involved. However, after later stepping into the strongest level with the invincible strength of the superior god, and achieving the 5th and 6th levels of the strongest, they felt that everything in the past was worth it. Otherwise, if they had stepped into the strongest level earlier, it is absolutely impossible to enter the 5th or 6th level at this moment. And now, the Tiandao text has been published to all directions, revealing the new function of the Tower of Babel, which actually allows the most powerful person who enters it to suppress their power and soul realm to the upper level realm, and can pass the level test inside, observe and understand the corresponding laws left by the strong before the historical separation, the four paths of heaven and earth. This is tantamount to giving all the strongest a pair of wings to take off. It's like cheating on them. Although they are also vested interests, and now they can enjoy this benefit by entering through the new entrance of Babel Tower, they still feel unwilling to do so when they think of their hard work in the past. They feel that the law of heaven is unfair, and this time they deliberately target them. They are the most powerful 5th level and 6th level beings. Before today, I never dreamed that what happened to Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang in the past would happen to people like us. God is unfair. It's really unfair. However, I can't compare with those two adults. After all, we are also profitable this time. With the new functions of the Babel Tower, I will hopefully go one step further and become a realm master, and even sprint to the extreme power the 7th level, obtains the unparalleled honor of being announced separately by Tiandao characters. Among the strong men before the historical separation, there are many who are at the 7th level and above, and there are even super strong men of the 8th and 9th levels. In other words, this new entrance to the Tower of Babel will be a step ahead for those few, for those who have entered the 7th level of the most powerful. It is also an opportunity to quickly improve themselves. In the land of 10,000 realms and beyond, a group of strong men of the 5th and 6th levels showed their unwillingness to give up. When they complained to their friends, they kept sighing. This day, things have really changed. In the future, when the superior gods break through to the most powerful realm, they no longer need to worry about anything. They can just break through and it's done. As long as the Babel Tower is here, not only will it not be more difficult to comprehend the laws in the future, but it will also be easier than before. Yes, this is to urge the superior to step into the most powerful realm. In the past, high-level gods would not easily step into the most powerful realm unless their potential was exhausted and a 1,000-year catastrophe was at stake. But from today on, all high-level gods who sense the call of the most powerful realm will no longer need to be promoted anymore. It is conceivable that from today on, whether it is our world or the places outside the world, a large number of powerful people will be born. And this is indeed the case. A group of high-ranking gods in the 10,000 realms and beyond the world, who have not yet sensed the call of the Supreme Realm, all think that as soon as the call of the Supreme Realm appears later, they will respond as soon as possible and step into the Supreme Realm, because only in this way can they enter. The second entrance to the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel serves the most powerful and does not accept high-ranking gods. Damn! Why didn't this heavenly text appear a few days in advance? I just rejected the call to the strongest realm 2 days ago. Damn it! It won't be that simple to step into the strongest realm next. I regret it. Are you kidding me? I just refused the call to the strongest realm half a month ago. Many high-level deities with good talents, who had just rejected the call of the most powerful realm some time ago, all regretted it after carefully studying the meaning expressed in the words of heaven. They got so angry that they started to curse, and they kept swearing, the way of thieves and the ways of dogs. And those high-ranking gods who have not yet sensed the call of the most powerful realm are eagerly waiting for the arrival of their own call to the most powerful realm. Senior brother, I heard you say that you refused the exchange of the strongest realm 3 years ago. Next, I may enter the strongest realm before you. If I gain something from entering the Babel Tower, I will definitely give it to you after I come out. You share. In another plane of gods in the inverse god realm, an elder from a top giant-level sect said playfully to the senior brother next to him. In exchange, it was a scolding from the other party. Roll? He was already in a bad mood, and his junior brother came to add fuel to the fire. Didn't this make him even more uncomfortable? Senior brother, if you dare to talk any more, believe it or not, I will beat you up. Don't forget, you are not the strongest yet. Similar scenes were staged all over the world and beyond. Some people were happy, while others were yelling. As for those ordinary and powerful people, they are now seeing the words of heavenly Tao. After carefully studying the profound meaning, as long as they have nothing urgent to do, they will rush to the direction of the entrance of Babel Tower as soon as possible. The entrance of Babel Tower in the past, it's no secret for a long time, but the current second entrance is right next to the original entrance. What the Tiandao text says is the entrance entwined with purple thunder. Someone arrived near the original entrance of the Tower of Babel and found that there was another entrance on the scene. It was a black vortex wrapped with purple thunder. The original pure black vortex formed a sharp contrast. No one with a clear mind would notice it. Might be wrong. Moreover, even if someone makes the wrong choice, they will not be able to enter the original entrance of the Tower of Babel, because the threshold of that entrance is the 6th level of the strongest. Suppress your cultivation to reach the realm of high-level gods, pass the level test, and get the opportunity to observe and understand the laws left by the strong before the historical separation and the 4 paths of heaven and earth. Feng Qingyang, who was protecting the Dharma beside Xue Qingzhu, showed some yearning in his eyes after reading the announcement of the Tiandao text. He knew that this was not only an opportunity for those high-level gods and ordinary powerful people to become stronger, but also an opportunity for powerful 7th-level beings like him to become stronger. Chapter 46:38. However, longing for longing, Feng Qingyang quickly retracted his thoughts, and his eyes fell on Qianing not far away. Incomsitis updated chapters are the most complete and comprehensive, and error-free content is repaired in the most timely manner. Due to caching reasons, browser access is recommended. Incom official website. At least, he couldn't walk away until the woman in front of him who was still immersed in enlightenment woke up. He couldn't just ignore her, right? I really admire Xiaotian. I don't know how these ladies managed to take care of both. Feng Qingyang felt a sigh in his heart when he thought that his disciple had several wives. In the past, he thought that women were a stumbling block for men on their way to cultivation, but now his disciple Duan Lingtian, who is more talented than others, has given him a good education. Class. Moreover, his disciple also said something to him. Men and women are matched, so work is not tiring. Perhaps, this is why Xiaotian can take a step ahead of me in swordsmanship so quickly and reach the 8th level? Thinking of this, Feng Qingyang's eyes fell on Xue Qingzhu again, with a little more expectation and yearning. This was the first woman he had been attracted to in his life. No matter what the result was, he would give it a try, otherwise I am afraid that I will have regrets for the rest of my life. Although the main body was guarding Xue Qingzhu, Feng Qingyang's law clone was not idle and immediately arrived at the entrance to the only Tongtian tower in the Nishan realm. The entrance to the Tower of Babel is not on any of the planes of the gods, but is located on the plane of the heavens, the Jade Emperor. When Feng Qingyang's law clone arrived, a lot of people had already gathered here, and some people just flew into the new cave entrance surrounded by purple thunder not far from the pitch-black cave entrance. This new cave entrance is the portal that the Tower of Babel opens to beings above the supreme realm. Lord Feng Qingyang. I've met Master Feng Qingyang. A group of powerful people present saw the arrival of Feng Qingyang's law clone. Naturally, they couldn't tell whether it was the original body or the clone, and they all saluted respectfully. They were all present when Feng Qingyang and Duan Lingtian gave a sermon in the past, and they recognized Feng Qingyang at a glance. Hello, everyone. Feng Qingyang smiled slightly, and then asked, have you tried whether the law clone can enter the new entrance of Babel Tower? Facing Feng Qingyang's inquiry, a seemingly old and powerful person immediately answered him. Lord Feng Qingyang, many people have tried just now, but the clone of the law cannot enter the Tower of Babel. Of course, the strongest person to try is he Realm Master, who is at the half-step Realm Master realm. There are many world leaders in the Nishan realm, which were decided many years ago, including the rising star Xiao Mubai. At that time, Xiao Mubai had just entered the half-step World Master realm, which was the 5th level of the most powerful. After Feng Qingyang and Duan Lingtian broke through one after another and became the most powerful 7th level beings, Xiao Mubai and other god-defying realm masters also proposed to let them too become realm masters, and they, the original realm masters, were demoted to vice realm lord. They all think this arrangement is appropriate. However, both Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang have a laid-back temperament and have no interest in becoming the master of the God-reverse realm. Although even if they become the realm master of the Nishan realm, they do not have to be busy with the Nishan realm, but it is not the style of Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang to do nothing in their positions, so they refused. He realm master. Not long after the law clone left, his true self has already entered. The most powerful man said again, Master. But at this moment, a voice came. Feng Qingyang took a look and found that his disciple Duan Lingtian had arrived. At first glance, he was not sure whether it was the clone of the law or the original deity. Lord Duan Lingtian. Lord Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian appeared, and everyone present saluted respectfully, even more respectfully than when they faced Feng Qingyang before. The main reason is that Duan Lingtian preached to them in the past, not only on the way of swordsmanship, but also on the way of infinity and control, which benefited them a lot and made them feel grateful to each other from the bottom of their hearts. However, Although they knew that Duan Lingtian was also good at those two arts, they subconsciously did not feel that Duan Lingtian had strong attainments in those two arts. After all, Duan Lingtian was too young to have third-level and fourth-level talents in those two arts. The achievement is already quite good. Even the most powerful man who was abducted by Lei Hong in the past, although he was present when Duan Lingtian preached, but because he was not good at the way of infinity and control, he happened to be on the way of swordsmanship, so that later when Duan Lingtian talked about the other two paths, he didn't listen at all and was still digesting the contents of the sword path that Duan Lingtian talked about before. Because of this, Lei Hong found out the details of Duan Lingtian from his mouth, not including that Duan Lingtian was also good at the way of control and the way of infinity, and did not know Duan Lingtian's true strength. Otherwise, he might not have dared to break into the god-defying realm so easily not long ago. After Duan Lingtian smiled and nodded at everyone, he looked at his master again and asked with a smile, "Master, do you want to try to use the law to clone into the new entrance of Babel Tower?" "Want to try it?" Feng Qingyang said. "If you can't get in, I tried before." Duan Lingtian shook his head and said, "The first time I saw the text of Tiandao, my law clone came here and even rushed in front of Xiao Jieju and Zhang Shan, but was unable to enter. I think it was either the Babel Tower's attack on the law. The clone has limitations, or there is no way to accommodate the clone of the law. I think it's the latter. No matter how realistic the clone of the law is, it is not a real flesh and blood body. Moreover, if the law clone enters it, it can only understand the corresponding law. However, the four paths of heaven and earth, and the law clones cannot be understood alone. The law clone can use the four paths of heaven and earth that the original master has understood, but it cannot comprehend the four paths of heaven and earth alone. Duan Lingtian has known this for a long time. Even if the clone of the law can understand the law, the efficiency of understanding it is far less than that of the original deity, not even 1/10 of the efficiency of the original deity. The meaning of the existence of the law clone lies more in combat. Then you are coming here now, ready to go in? Feng Qingyang suddenly realized. It turned out that his disciple had the law clone come over immediately, even earlier than he did. Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded. Get ready to go in and take a look. Then, when Feng Qingyang's law clone frowned, he sent a message at the right time and said, "Master, I know you are a little worried. Could this be a set made by heaven against the two of us, and you want to target them inside? Us. But I think it's almost impossible. If heaven can really kill us, why bother with so much effort? If you really want to set a trap, can't you just set one at random? As for the bait, Master, you are alone, but I am not alone. Moreover, the emergence of the new function of Babel Tower this time is more like the intention of heaven to increase the number of the most powerful people in the world and outside the world, and to help all the most powerful people, including us, improve their strength." Chapter 46-39. Duan Lingtian, if not for some careful consideration, it would not have been possible for me to come in person. He first used the law of time clone to come over to see the situation. After confirming that the law clone could not enter, he thought about it for a while and felt that there was basically no problem. He decided to enter the Babel Tower to explore the way of heaven for the most powerful people like them, a prepared place for experience and cultivation. Master, after you and I stepped into the 7th level with our own efforts, the way of heaven came to the Babel Tower to help other 6th level beings break their shackles and give them the opportunity to step into the 7th level, and many people did step into the 7th level after that. There are not many people in the 7th level right now. It's entirely because the Babel Tower has only arrived in a short period of time. After thousands or tens of thousands of years, more powerful 7th level people will appear. When the message came to this point, Duan Lingtian paused and continued. At that time, you and I subconsciously felt that this was the way of heaven targeting us. In fact, even other outsiders are also suspicious. Before the new functions of the Tower of Babel appear this time, I still have doubts. Now, this suspicion has faded a lot. According to the memory of old man Wukong he inherited, before the separation of history, there were some tests that were suspected to be sent by heaven, which required entering an independent space. Old man Wukong himself had gone in before and came out safely and unscathed every time. The reason why it is said to be suspected is because Old Man Wukong is not sure that it is a test sent by heaven, but he does not think that anyone can leave such a test, even he who once stepped into the 9th level of the strongest, and there is no way to set up such unpredictable tests. As for what Old Man Wukong believed in his memory, the reason why heaven chose to annihilate the world and return the world to chaos was because he was afraid of the existence of a powerful 9th level person like him, fearing that he would override heaven. So we must kill him. After thinking about this matter several times, Duan Lingtian felt that it was untenable. If you really want to kill Old Man Wukong, even if Tian Dao can't do it himself, you can still create various dangerous situations to trap Old Man Wukong. Even if you only need to show the heavenly words and offer a reward for Old Man Wukong. As long as the reward given is generous enough, many strong people will be willing to take action against Old Man Wukong. Before the separation of history, in the memory of Old Man Wukong, he had never seen the Tiandao characters. At this point, Duan Lingtian was actually a little puzzled. He couldn't figure out why the heaven never sent down the heavenly words in the period of history where Old Man Wukong existed before the separation of history. Even if it is a test that is suspected to be set by heaven and comes with generous rewards, it is discovered first and then spread artificially. I'm afraid there are some secrets that we can't guess. Just like in the memory of Old Man Wukong, in the world before the historical separation, there were no 9 entrances to mysterious places that are present in many realms of the world today. If so, where did the powerful monster with the 8th level or above of power come from? Did it appear after the historical separation? If it appeared after the historical separation and the Tiandao text was announced, why did it say that Master, you are the first 7th level strongest existence after the historical separation? 9 entrances to mysterious places, corresponding to 9 monsters of the 8th level and above. What is the space where they are located? You don't need to guess the power that prevents them from entering the human world. It must be the means of heaven. Master Feng Qingyang knew that he had inherited the memory of Old Man Wukong, a super strong man before the historical separation, so he began to analyze it with his master while transmitting the message. Even for a moment, he once speculated that the reason why heaven lowered the Babel Tower and activated 2 of its major functions in succession was also related to the mysterious place that the 9 entrances lead to. Tiandao now obviously intends to improve the strength of all the strongest people in this world. But in the past, not only did it not do this, it even set up heavy restrictions to suppress the most powerful people and prevent them from entering the 7th level. Until, in this world after the separation of history, he and his master, 2 strongest 7th level beings who broke the shackles, appeared. The way of heaven, like a fickle woman, no longer suppressed the strongest like in the past. First, it gave the most powerful the opportunity to step into the 7th level, and now it gives all the most powerful the opportunity to improve their strength. In fact, he is still inducing the superior gods to enter the most powerful realm as soon as possible. Tiandao, why do you do this? Feng Qingyang couldn't figure it out either. Master, do you think this is the case? Duan Lingtian expressed his personal speculation. Because you and I have stepped into the 7th level of the strongest one after another, it may have affected this world, making it impossible for heaven to borrow power from this world to block the 9 mysterious entrances as in the past. The terrifying creatures behind, and other powerful beings in the space where the terrifying creatures are. As for the way of heaven in the past, to a certain extent, it restricted the emergence of the most powerful people and did not allow the most powerful 6th level people to go further and step into the 7th level. Is it because Tiandao is afraid that they will affect it and leverage this world? Now, can it be understood as, since you and I stepped into the 7th level one after another, the way of heaven can no longer borrow as much power as before, so that it is a bit overwhelming? So, it just breaks the jar and lets us deal with the terrifying creatures behind the 9 mysterious entrances? This is Duan Lingshan's own imagination, borrowed from the so-called power of realm from all walks of life. The power of the realm can be controlled by the realm masters of all realms, but it can only be used to stabilize the space barriers around the realm. In addition to consuming it in this area, It can also control the power of the realm to absorb small objects. The power of the realm's realm strengthens the realm itself. It cannot be used against the enemy. After hearing Duan Lingshan's guess, Feng Qingyang's pupils shrank, and she suddenly felt enlightened, feeling that her disciple's guess was probably true. Maybe that's true. When Feng Qingyang transmitted the message again, his tone was full of shock, and he said with fear, "If this is really the case, wouldn't this world be dangerous? If the terrifying creatures behind the 9 mysterious entrances are really allowed to enter this world, heaven and earth, not just all realms, even the places outside the realm will not be spared. At that time, this world may usher in a doomsday disaster. The terrifying creatures that guard the 9 mysterious entrances have the power of the 8th level. Feng Qingyang does not believe that there is no stronger being behind them. Seeing that his master was becoming serious, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Master, this is just my wishful thinking at the moment. Maybe the truth of the matter is not like this? Chapter 46-40. Although it's just your guess, it sounds reasonable to me. Feng Qingyang's voice transmission continued. As for what you said before, the old man Wukong before the historical separation has never seen the Tiandao characters appear. It should be that era when Tiandao felt that there was no need for him to appear in any form. And in this era, the reason why the way of heaven appears is probably because he suppressed us too hard in the past. Having said this, he paused for a moment, his eyes shining brightly, like divine light. I guess that before the separation of history, the reason why heaven wanted to destroy the world and return the world to chaos was precisely because there was an enemy invasion. Tiandao should have felt that the strength of the group of people before the historical separation was not enough to resist the invading enemies. So he simply killed them all and allowed the power of this world to belong to him, thus consolidating the space of this world. Barrier to resist foreign enemies. The foreign enemy is the powerful life behind those mysterious entrances. When Chuanin said this, Feng Qingyang's tone became a little high-spirited, as if a light flashed in his mind. That's right. In this way, it can also explain why the memory of old man Wukong that you inherited does not have the existence of those mysterious entrances, because in the era when they were alive, foreign enemies had not invaded from outside this world. When foreign enemies invaded, because heaven felt that they were not strong enough to defend this world, they simply launched a plan to destroy the world. Chaos reopened, and those of us who were separated from history appeared. In order to prevent the most powerful people from occupying the power of this world, heaven put many restrictions on the rules so that the most powerful people would not appear too many, or even exceed the limit. The stronger, the less powerful. No one is allowed to appear even if they are the strongest 7th level or above. Until you and I, 2 odd numbers, appeared and broke Tiandao's original plan. This time, for some unknown reason, Tiandao did not intend to continue to launch the apocalyptic plan. Instead, he did the opposite and took the initiative to help us improve our strength and give birth to the strongest. It must be just as you guessed. He wanted us to resist foreign enemy. Feng Qingyang made some guesses and became excited as she talked. The more she talked, the more she felt that her guess was accurate. After hearing his master's guess, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. He didn't expect that based on his guess, his master could also make so many extensions, and all aspects of the analysis were reasonable. Can't find anything wrong. Is it possible that this is really the case? At this moment, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but agree with his master's guess. So, Xiaotian, you were right. Tiandao, I should not be targeting you and me from the beginning to the end. It's just that the appearance of you and me has prevented it from resisting foreign enemies as easily as in the past. We broke the balance, so it simply launched the prosperity plan that is different from the doomsday plan. Duan Lingtian was speechless after hearing his master's words. The plan for a prosperous age came out of his master's mouth. Simply outrageous. Don't say it. Don't say it yet. Don't say it yet. It sounds reasonable. Master, we'll go in first to explore the way and see what's going on inside. When the future master wakes up from her epiphany, you can wait for me to come out and then go in. Although I guess that the way of heaven will not target you and me, it is still necessary to be steady. You wait until I come out and then let me go in. When Duan Lingtian said this, he changed his subject and said, Master, you must win that one. I already regard her as the future master's wife. If our guess is correct, I am afraid that many powerful beings above the 7th level will be born in this world in the future. As the first batch of powerful men above the 7th level, it is beneficial but not harmful to us to have more people around us. I heard from Master Shao that the future master's wife is in a place outside the realm, but she has 12 sworn brothers and sisters, as well as 2 saints, and the rest are semi-saints. If you take her down, it will be equivalent to taking over the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty, a huge force in the outside world. Feng Qingyang was still guessing and thinking, but she didn't expect that her disciple suddenly changed the topic and brought the topic to Xue Qingzhu, and she couldn't help being stunned for a moment. After being embarrassed for a moment, he came back to his senses and glared at Duan Lingtian angrily. You kid, you're getting older and younger, and you've started teasing your master and me? My admiration for fellow Taoist Xue is from the bottom of my heart, not driven by profit. Even if she and I get together in the future, it has nothing to do with interests. Hearing this, Duan Lingtian said yes repeatedly, then said hello again, and was about to enter the new entrance of Babel Tower to check out the situation. During the time when he was communicating with his master via voice transmission, many more powerful people from the god-defying realm entered inside. Just after saying hello to his master and watching the opponent's law clone leave, Duan Lingtian saw a familiar figure coming from a distance before he could go in. He couldn't help but pause for a moment, waiting for the person to come from far away. Fengshu Yufeng came here. The person who came was a woman, wearing a gorgeous long dress with a graceful figure, a colorful belt tied around her waist, long hair like a waterfall, a delicate face, and an aloof temperament. It was Duan Lingxin's senior sister in the inner palace of Wanfa Academy, Huangfu Mingyuan. Sister, are you also planning to enter the Tower of Babel? Duan Lingtian asked with a smile. Seeing Duan Lingtian, Huangfu Mingyuan's cold and pretty face suddenly revealed a smile, like an ice lotus blooming, full of beauty, eye-catching. Junior brother, come here. Are you ready to go in? Huangfu Mingyuan asked. Right. Duan Lingtian nodded. Get ready to go in and take a look. The two chatted and exchanged some greetings. Duan Lingtian learned that of the other 2 senior brothers and the 4th senior sister, only the 4th senior sister remained in the inner palace to practice and take charge. The other 2 senior brothers had gone to the outside world to practice, to find a way for the call of the greatest realm to return, for they had rejected it once in the past. After being rejected once, it will not be that simple if you want to step into the strongest position again. Soon, Duan Lingtian watched his senior sister Huangfu Mingyuan enter the Babel Tower, and then followed her in. When he entered, there was almost no one outside. The most powerful people who wanted to enter the Tower of Babel all went in. As for those who haven't entered yet, they either have no plans to come yet or are on their way there. After entering, will your strength and soul realm be suppressed? With this curiosity, Duan Lingtian swayed and entered another purple, thunder-wrapped entrance near the original entrance of Babel Tower, and disappeared into it in a blink of an eye. Chapter 46-41. Stepping into the entrance of the Babel Tower surrounded by purple thunder, Duan Lingtian felt a huge suction force sweeping through him in just a moment. His eyes went dark and then lighted up, and he found that he had come to a vast white space, and all the eyes could see. It's white fog, making it impossible to see through everything around me. His subconscious consciousness unfolded. It was at this moment that Duan Lingtian took a deep breath secretly, and a trace of sincere fear flashed in his eyes. He discovered that the soul realm corresponding to his spiritual consciousness had actually fallen to the upper-level realm. Speaking of which, he had become the most powerful person not long ago, and he was still very familiar with the spiritual consciousness of the upper-level realm. My power. At the same time, Duan Lingtian sensed the power in his body and discovered that his power was no longer the 7th level of supreme divine power, but only the power of a superior god. At this moment, he seemed to have transformed back into the superior he had been in the past. However, within this vast space of white mist, he could still communicate the laws of space of the great perfection, the laws of time, the laws of life, and even other laws of the small perfection realm with a single movement of his mind, even the attainments of swordsmanship. Still there, not half a point cut. Just like what was described in the Tiandao text when it was previously announced. Without me being aware of it, heaven's method of suppressing my soul realm and strength is really unpredictable. At this moment, Duan Lingtian deeply realized how terrifying the way of heaven is. I am afraid that it is not just what the old man Wukong in front of the historical partition thought. Going one step further on the basis of the 9th level of the strongest is enough to be on par with the way of heaven, let alone it is to overwhelm the way of heaven and no longer be restricted by the way of heaven. He inherited the complete memory of Old Man Wukong, and naturally knew that although Old Man Wukong knew the existence of the Tao of Heaven, his knowledge of the Tao of Heaven was limited. The reason why he felt that those with powers above the 9th level could be on par with the Tao of Heaven, because of the apocalyptic disaster before the separation of history. In that disaster, even the strongest 9th level warriors like Old Man Wukong had difficulty escaping. They could only leave a trace of their souls behind and hide in the land of return to ruins. Only then could they successfully transfer their soul's memories, and one's own inheritance are passed on. Even before he got the memory of Old Man Wukong, the remnant soul of Old Man Wukong was already crumbling in the long river of time, just like the light of a lamp that is about to run out of oil and may be annihilated at any time. The way of heaven is definitely not as simple as the Old Man Wukong thought. While Duan Lingtian was still thinking, an indifferent voice without any emotion came from his ear. Those who enter this place for the first time, within a quarter of an hour, tell me a law and a kind of 4 ways of heaven and earth that you want to observe. The level you are about to pass will also be related to that kind of law, and which kind of 4 ways of heaven and earth. Related. When you reach the end of a level, whether you are unable to continue or you don't want to go any further, you can say stop trying in advance and the level will disappear by then. The number of levels you pass determines the quantity and quality of the rules left by the strong before the historical separation and the 4 realms of heaven and earth that you can observe. When you come in next time, you can directly enjoy the treatment you got from previous levels. If you want to continue to pass the next level, just say continue to pass. If you want to change the laws and the 4 ways of heaven and earth, you need to go through the level again. No need to guess. Duan Lingtian can also imagine that this voice must be caused by Tiandao. Everyone who walks into the new entrance of the Babel Tower and enters their own exclusive experience and trial space will definitely be able to hear the rules describing the new functions of the Babel Tower. The sound of. Not much introduction, concise and easy to understand. Soon, Duan Lingtian spoke loudly. The law of time, the way of devouring. As for the law of space, he has entered the realm of great perfection and does not need to be improved. But for the law of time, after he stepped into the realm of the strongest, he found that it was indeed much more difficult to comprehend than before, even more than 10 times more difficult. It's no wonder that so many people are unwilling to step into the realm of the most powerful before the law reaches perfection. It's really difficult. But now, Tiandao has opened a new function of the Tower of Babel, allowing him to rely on the realm of the superior God to understand the law of time, which is undoubtedly a great good thing for him. Among the laws he masters, the one he is best at is undoubtedly the law of space, followed by the law of time, and then the law of life. Therefore, this time he chose the law of time first. As for the 4 paths of heaven and earth, he had just broken through in the way of swordsmanship, and he had not fully understood the way of swordsmanship in Old Man Wukong's memory, so he was not in a hurry. As for the way of infinity and the way of control, Old Man Wukong also has it in his memory, and his attainments are not low. Only the way of swallowing among the 4 paths of heaven and earth has no relevant insights in Old Man Wukong's memory. It's not that Old Man Wukong lacks understanding, but that he has already studied 3 of the 4 paths of heaven and earth and is unable to distract himself from comprehending the 3rd one. 4 kinds. Now, Duan Lingtian chooses the way of devouring, mainly because he is curious about it, because he has not really dabbled in this way in the past. The breakthrough begins. As Duan Lingtian finished speaking, the previous indifferent voice sounded again. Then, a phantom formed in the void in front. It was a human-shaped phantom whose appearance could not be seen clearly. As soon as it appeared, it pushed towards Duan Lingtian with a palm. The momentum was fierce. Wherever the palm passed, the shadow of the palm seemed to teleport. Of course, this is not the teleportation secret of the space law. It was the law of time that gave Duan Lingtian this illusion. The strength of this phantom is also at the level of a high-level god, but the time law it uses is far inferior to what Duan Lingtian has mastered. As for the way of devouring, the devouring power that extends from it envelopes Duan Lingtian's body without causing any disturbance. Ripples. Duan Lingtian knew very well that this was because this was only the first level. The first level is naturally relatively simple. He pointed out casually, and the sword light roared, turning into hundreds of tiny sword lights in the blink of an eye, penetrating into the shadow's body, not only stopping his offensive, but even strangling it. The second level begins. When Duan Lingtian passed the first level, the second level also came as promised. It was a little more difficult, but to Duan Lingtian it was still just a sword. Then comes the third level, the fourth level. When Duan Lingtian himself entered the Babel Tower to pass the level, not only the Nishan realm, but also the most powerful people from other realms and places outside the world, more than 70%, entered the Bangtian Tower to pass the level, intending to quickly improve in it. Strength will soar to the next level as soon as possible. Those guys, why haven't they come out yet? Among the most powerful forces in the 10,000 realms and beyond the world, those who stayed behind could not help but complain after waiting for a while, but not waiting for their fellow sects who had entered the Babel Tower. They also want to enter the Tower of Babel. The strength of a group of powerful people in the 10,000 worlds and beyond the world has generally begun to improve with the opening of the new functions of the Tower of Babel. And those high-ranking gods who had previously rejected the call of the Supreme Realm, such as Duan Lingtian's second and third senior brothers in the Wanfa Academy, are now anxiously looking for a way to enter the Supreme Realm. They also want to achieve the supreme power as soon as possible. Enter the Tower of Babel to increase your strength. It doesn't matter if the senior sister is stronger than them. The junior brother's strength made them despair, but at the same time, he kept spurring them on. Chapter 46-42. Time flies like a white horse passing by, and in the blink of an eye it is more than 1,000 years later. During these more than 1,000 years, Duan Lingtian also gained a certain understanding of the devouring path in the Babel Tower. Of course, it was definitely not as good as his attainments in the way of control and the way of infinity. After all, those two kinds of heaven and earth and four ways can be passed through. Digest the memory of the old man without empty space. Over the millennium, his strength has also improved significantly. In terms of cultivation, he has also stepped from the 7th level of the most powerful to the 8th level of the most powerful. This, in fact, was a natural thing when he mastered the swordsmanship to the 8th level. He only needed to settle down and break through naturally. For example, from the 6th level of the most powerful to the 7th level of the most powerful, in addition to mastering the laws of the realm of great perfection, one must also understand a certain 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th level. Only then can one lead to the forbidden realm of heaven. After successfully overcoming the tribulation, he successfully broke through. Unlike the 6th level to the 7th level, which requires overcoming tribulations, the 7th level to the 8th level, as long as the realm of the 4 realms of heaven and earth is reached, the breakthrough will be a matter of course. Certainly. To this day, there are only 2 people who know that Duan Lingtian has achieved a breakthrough: his master Feng Qingyang and his master's wife Xue Qingzhu. 300 years ago, his master and Xue Qingzhu, who came from outside the world, finally became Taoist couples. Although he pushed for it many times, the most important thing was that the two had similar temperaments. After getting along for a long time, it became natural. Walk together. As for the bet he made with Xue Qingzhu in the past, Duan Lingtian also took the initiative to cancel it. I can't do it without canceling. After all, the new entrance to the Babel Tower is not in the Nirvana heaven, but in the Jade Emperor heaven. The bet he made with Xue Qingzhu was made before the new functions of the Tower of Babel appeared. At that time, no one thought that heaven would suddenly give the Tower of Babel new functions, and that even the strongest 7th-level experts would flock to it. The function of. On Shui Qingzu's side, after the Epiphany, although she knew that the Babel Tower had new functions, she still planned to fulfill her promise, even if she really wanted to enter the Tower of Babel. However, in her eyes, credibility is more important. However, facing Master Feng Qingyang's aggressive eyes, Duan Lingtian did not dare to let Shui Qingzhu continue to fulfill the bet, so he immediately broke the bet. Later, after getting along for a while, the two destined people came together, and Duan Lingtian was also happy for his master. Lao Feng has finally broken away from the category of old bachelor. In the past 1,000 years, due to the emergence of new functions of the Babel Tower, whether it is a group of powerful people from all realms or outside the world, as long as they are not the kind who are about to reach the end of their lifespan and have exhausted their potential, they are basically promoted in the Tower of Babel. A lot. Over the course of 1,000 years, dozens of people have survived the tribulation of the Forbidden Realm and entered the 7th level of the strongest. Over the years, the immortals in all realms and places outside the realm have almost grown tired of reading the words of heaven. Master, has your wife entered the Tower of Babel again? In a quiet courtyard of the Xia family in the land of divine heritage, Duan Lingtian picked up a cup of tea, took a sip, and looked at his master Feng Qingyang across the table with a smile. Feng Qingyang nodded. She said she feels she is still close to a breakthrough in the way of swordsmanship. Let's see if she can complete the breakthrough in the Tower of Babel. If she really breaks through this time, she will be ahead of me in terms of achievements in the way of swordsmanship. When the words fell, Feng Qingyang's eyes were not only complicated, but also a little helpless. In fact, he had already touched the threshold of the 8th level of swordsmanship hundreds of years ago, but because of the bottleneck, he has not been able to successfully step into the 8th level to this day, and there is nothing he can do about it. Take this to make further progress in your cultivation. Master, it's not that easy to break through the 8th level. Duan Lingtian shook his head. If I hadn't inherited the complete memory of old man Wukong, I might not have reached the 8th level of swordsmanship by myself. He is self-aware. If it were not for the memory of old man Wukong, he might be able to surpass his master in other aspects, but in the way of swordsmanship, it is absolutely impossible to surpass his master. This master of his is a true swordsman monster. I'm not worried about her breakthrough. Feng Qingyang shook his head and smiled. I hope she breaks through and shows her 8th level swordsmanship in front of me. Combined with your 8th level swordsmanship, maybe I can successfully take that crucial step. Before Duan Lingtian could speak again, he changed his topic and looked around. My disciples and 2 disciples are still outside and haven't come back? Speaking of which, he really hadn't seen them in many years. Huaner stepped into the realm of the strongest some time ago, and is now inside the Tower of Babel. As for Kier and the others, they are indeed still outside, and they have been making noises about going to the outside world recently. They all want to go outside and try to step in as soon as possible. Reach the divine realm and become the most powerful person. Duan Lingtian said helplessly. As for the 2 children Xiling and Yintian, some time ago, while I was away, I took Xuanai, Xiaohe, Xiaobai and Xiaojin to the outside world secretly, and also used the Dragon Clan space treasure almost hid it from even my law clone. However, I still followed a law clone behind them to protect them. His wives were okay and knew that he was worried about them, so before he let go, it was impossible to secretly leave the Nishan realm and go to the outside world. However, his pair of children are newborn calves, not afraid of tigers, and don't have so many worries. According to their words, their father also relied on himself to achieve today's achievements step by step. They must also follow suit and do not want to be flowers in the greenhouse. However, only he, a father, knows how many hardships and obstacles he has experienced along the way, and how many times his life has been hanging by a thread. In the past, he had no one to rely on and could only fight on his own. Now that he has become the support of his children, he naturally does not want them to take risks like his past self. When children grow up, it's normal to have their own ideas. Feng Qingyang smiled. Duan Lingtian was just about to speak when he suddenly received a summons, which was sent to him with the help of Xiao Mubai. What's wrong? Seeing the change in Duan Lingshan's expression, Feng Qingyang also realized something was wrong and asked subconsciously. Duan Lingtian raised his brows, put down the teacup in his hand. His eyes flashed. It was a message from Realm Master Xiao to me. He said that there were 3 newly promoted 7th-level powerful people in Hongming Realm, and they entered one of the foggy areas of Hongming Realm together. The mysterious entrance. I want to explore the depth of the powerful monster behind. In the end, they all died inside. Hearing this, Feng Qingyang was also stunned, and immediately took a breath of air. 3 people. No one escaped? Chapter 46-43. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. This is what Realm Master Xiao said. Duan Lingtian nodded, placing his hand on the stone table in front of him and tapping it gently, frowning slightly. This was the first time he heard that there were beings above the 7th level of the strongest who had died, and there were 3 of them. It's amazing. You must know that there are only a few dozen powerful beings above the 7th level since his master. This is because the Babel Tower opened new functions thousands of years ago to help a group of powerful people improve their strength. Now, all 3 of them were gone. Of those 3, Feng Qingyang hesitated for a moment, then continued to ask, "Is there an Aguli?" "Master, did you guess this?" Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that his master would suddenly say such a sentence, because Xiao Mubai did mention that the person who died in Hongming Realm was mentioned in the message to him just now. One of the 3 most powerful 7th-level powerhouses, he is exactly in the past, before the new functions of the Tower of Babel appeared. The 5th Eagle entered the 7th level of the strongest. Is he really there? Feng Qingyang's pupil shrank slightly. Judging from his disciple's current performance, he knew that he had guessed correctly. It's him. Duan Lingtian nodded. Feng Qingyang smiled bitterly, and his eyes shone with the luster of sorrow. Thousands of years ago, he was very curious about the world behind the 9 mysterious entrances. He even traveled to all walks of life and confirmed that the 9 entrances in each world lead to 9 identical ones. The place. If it weren't for his limited strength, he might have explored that mysterious world long ago. So, you just said that 3 people died in Hongming Realm, and those who died were all powerful 7th-level beings. I guess that there might be him. Feng Qingyang was also very impressed by Agul's enthusiasm for the mysterious world back then, and he could tell at that time that the other party would not give up easily. If given the opportunity, he would definitely explore the space world corresponding to the 9 mysterious entrances. Now, sure enough it is. However, the ending was unsatisfactory. As strong as Aguli, he still died inside despite joining forces with 2 other newly promoted 7th-level warriors. Now I feel more and more that the way the Heavenly Tao opens new functions of the Tower of Babel, gives birth to the strongest, and allows the strongest to rapidly increase their strength, is probably really related to the space world corresponding to the 9 mysterious entrances. 3 of them disappeared at once, not one of the strongest 7th-level beings escaped, so it was unlikely that it was the work of a monster. Duan Lingtian guessed with a solemn expression. After all, in the past, both Master and Aguli escaped from the hands of monsters after entering the mysterious entrance. If any of you can escape, let alone 3 of them, there are probably some variables inside. It's a pity that everyone died inside. I just don't know if their legal clones outside left any useful information before their original self died. Having said this, Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed, and then he almost stood up together with his master. The 2 of them unanimously decided to take a trip to Hongming Realm to see if the 3 people left any useful news. Duan Lingtian has long heard about the space world behind the 9 mysterious entrances, which cannot be entered by law clones. Therefore, the 3 people who died in Hongming Realm must be me. Although the other law clones will disappear as soon as the main body dies, the law clones still have time to leave some news before the death of the main body. This time, Duan Lingtian and the 2 went to Hongming Realm, hoping to know from the mouths of the 3 people what happened before they died. A monster with the strongest 8th-level strength should not be enough to annihilate their entire army. Ada Gang Tribe. After Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang entered the Hongming Realm, they immediately went to the forces behind Aguli. In the past, Duan Lingtian had followed Xiao Mubai, the leader of the anti-god realm, so he was familiar with the journey, and soon they with his master came to the Adagon tribe. After arriving at the Adagon tribe, Duan Lingshan's consciousness unfolded, and he could detect the strange atmosphere of the Adagon tribe. Everyone seemed lifeless and lost their souls. What's happening here? Duan Lingtian was a little puzzled, but he didn't know what was going on until the strong men from the Adagon tribe knew about his arrival and came out to greet him. But it was Agulus' death that plunged the entire Adagon tribe into mourning. Almost everyone in the tribe regarded Aguli as faith, the greatest god, and an immortal and eternal existence. But now, the gods they believed in have died. In their world, it is tantamount to the end of the world. I came here this time to ask, Brother Aguli, before he died, did the law clone who stayed here tell you about what happened to him? Seeing the sadness in the other person's brows, Duan Lingtian asked straight to the point. And this elderly elder of the Adagon tribe is also one of the few remaining realm lords in the Adagon tribe, and he is also a newly promoted realm lord in the past 1,000 years. 1,000 years ago, he and the current realm lords of the Adagon tribe were just half-step realm lord. On the other side of Renegade realm, those half-step world masters have also taken a crucial step through the Babel Tower and entered the realm of world masters and can live for a long time. They originally regarded the next powerful man's calamity as a fierce tiger, but now they didn't pay attention at all, and even agreed that the calamity could be easily overcome with one hand. These were the exact words that Realm Lord Xiaomubai told him. Of course, Xiaomubai entered the realm of realm before the new functions of the Babel Tower appeared. Now, with the help of the Babel Tower, after thousands of years, he is getting closer and closer to the 7th level of the strongest. If nothing unexpected happens, he will definitely be the third most powerful 7th level powerhouse in the Nishan realm after Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang. Certainly. What we are talking about here are the aboriginals of the counter-god realm. We do not include the powerful Zhongshan of the emerged realm who later migrated to the counter-god realm, because Zhongshan successfully stepped out of the realm as early as 300 years ago, took a crucial step to become the strongest the 7th level. The old man said with a bitter look on his face. Before Aguli died, he told us what happened to him and the other 2 adults inside. He said that he and the other 2 adults just planned to try out the area near the entrance. However, they never thought about the depth of that monster. As soon as they besieged the monster, they could not fight each other until the 20th move, when 2 people who were stronger than the monster suddenly came. A powerful presence. Those are 2 strong human beings. Once they take action, Aguli and the 3 of them have no chance to escape. Aguli said that one of the strong human beings is only slightly stronger than the monster, and the other strong human being is stronger than the monster. Strong, the 3 of them are also imprisoned by each other, so that there is no way to escape and return to Hongming realm. Chapter 46-44. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. After listening to the words of the world leader of the Adagon tribe, Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang looked at each other, and they both saw solemn looks in each other's eyes. Behind the mysterious entrance, besides the powerful monsters that look like monsters, are there actually humans? This was something they didn't expect. According to their original guess, the creatures in that mysterious world should all exist like gatekeeper monsters. The appearance of strong human beings made them feel that the mysterious world seemed to be covered with an even more mysterious veil. Can you tell me his exact words? Feng Qingyang looked at the other party and asked. After learning from the other party the message from the law clone that Aguli left here before his death, Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang asked him about the situation of the other 2 people who entered the mysterious entrance together with Aguli, and finally said goodbye and prepared to leave. Open. Condolences. Before leaving, they comforted each other, and then the 2 of them continued towards the forces behind the other 2. Those 2 forces are also the top forces in the Hongming realm. The former realm master has gone a step further and reached the level of Aguli. In addition, they were already on good terms with Aguli, and they were also interested in the world behind the mysterious entrance. So when Aguli took the initiative to propose an expedition, the 2 of them readily agreed and went with him. Unexpectedly, a hasty decision cost them their lives. After practicing for many years, everything has become a dream, which is sad and lamentable. It seems the world behind that mysterious entrance may be the same as ours. There are both great monsters and powerful humans. After visiting the forces behind the other two people and asking some questions, Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang returned to the Nishan realm, their faces extremely solemn. I have a gut feeling. Feng Qingyang's eyes flickered. I'm afraid this peace right now won't last long. Duan Lingtian nodded and frowned slightly. He felt the same way. Although, he enjoys the peace of the moment and does not need to worry too much about peace. Because now he has enough strength to protect the people he cares about, and even enough to suppress everything at the moment. However, there are 9 mysterious entrances that exist simultaneously in many realms of the 10,000 realms, including the counter-god realm, and what just happened in the Hongming realm. Coupled with Tiando's changes in recent years, he also vaguely felt that this peace would soon be broken. Next, I will call all my relatives and friends back and let them enter the small world inside my body to practice. Duan Lingtian said in a deep voice. For them, this is the safest. For me, that's the most reassuring thing. Not only his parents and wife who are still in the anti-god realm, but also other relatives and friends, even the children who have gone to the outside world, the 3 little ones in Xuanai, he will bring them back this time and force them back, whether they want it or not. Resistance is futile. In fact, he is doing the same now. Father, boss, elder brother. Outside the boundary, when Duan Yintian, Duan Siling and others saw Duan Lingshan's time law clone appearing, they were all dumbfounded. They didn't expect that Duan Lingtian could follow them here. Of course, they couldn't tell whether the Duan Lingtian in front of them was the original deity or a clone of the law. They just thought it was the original deity coming in person. Go back with me. Duan Lingtian opened his mouth, and without waiting for anyone to retort, he waved his hand and powerful force invaded everyone's bodies, bound them, and then led them away from the outside world. There were no hiccups along the way. He didn't even let his children wait for anyone to talk to him. If he had anything to say, he could wait until he got back. Facing Duan Lingshan's tyranny, although several people were helpless, there was nothing they could do. Compared to Duan Yintian, who was still struggling, Duan Siling, Han Xuanai, and the 3 little ones were relatively quiet, and even looked guilty at one point. Snapped. Seeing that his son was so ignorant, Duan Lingtian immediately gave him a big mouth, and the world suddenly fell silent. After bringing them back to the Nishan realm, Duan Lingtian gathered the rest of his family and friends together, told them the whole story, and told them what he and his master Feng Qingyang had guessed 1,000 years ago. Before the separation of history, because of the appearance of those foreign invaders, heaven launched an apocalyptic plan to kill everything, just to extract the power of heaven and earth to consolidate the defense line and resist foreign enemies. In this era we live in, heaven intentionally limits the number of the most powerful people and restricts the emergence of the 7th level of the most powerful. Is it to better extract the power of heaven and earth to defend against enemies? In recent years, the way of heaven has been abnormal. Is it because it can no longer bear the burden for us and we need to face the invading foreign enemies ourselves? After listening to Duan Lingshan's words, not only the family and friends around him, but also senior sister Huangfu Mingyuan and others who came from the inner palace of Wanfa Academy were shocked. Although Duan Lingtian added that all this was speculation by him and his master, everyone inexplicably felt that it made sense and that this should be the truth. For a moment, everyone felt the pressure increase greatly. Even Duan Yintian stopped making trouble at this time. After knowing the truth of the matter, he became completely honest. However, the dream of being strong in my heart has not been extinguished because of this, but my fighting spirit has been high. Even if I am hiding in the little world inside my father's body, I will become stronger as soon as possible and do my best for this world. I am Duan Lingshan's son. I can't embarrass my father. Duan Yintian thought silently in his heart. Over the years, he seems to be out of tune, but could it be because he wants to become an upright man like his father Duan Lingtian? His father, who rose from a humble beginning, was able to stand at the pinnacle, convincing even the veteran strongmen in the Nishan realm. All of this made him proud and even excited. He doesn't seek to be comparable to his father, he just seeks not to embarrass him. Although all of this is just speculation by Master and I, you'd better stay in the little world inside my body before confirming the truth of the matter, Duan Lingtian said. Father, the land of divine relics is also part of the small world inside your body. Can I stay in the land of divine relics? Duan Yintian asked with some guilt. None of the people present were outsiders. They had known for a long time that the land of divine relics was a part of the small world inside Duan Lingtian's body. It was possible before, but not now. Duan Lingtian shook his head. Although the land of divine relics is also a small world inside my body, I can get back from the outside very quickly, but it still takes some time. You cannot leave the little world inside my body until the specific threat is confirmed. Duan Lingtian was informing everyone, not discussing with them. It didn't matter if he didn't have enough strength before. Now that he has strength, he will naturally not put his family and friends in danger. Little junior brother, let the second junior brother, third junior brother, and little junior sister also enter the small world inside your body. As for me, I will not enter. Huangfu Mingyuan said. After 1,000 years, the former half-step World Master elder sister has also entered the realm of World Master. As for the second senior brother, third senior brother, and fourth senior sister, they have also stepped into the strongest realm one after another in these 1,000 years. Senior sister, you are already a realm master, so naturally you don't need to take refuge. Duan Lingtian smiled. He is just preparing for a rainy day. With the talent and understanding of his senior sister, he might not be able to take a further step and step into the 7th level before the disaster comes. Chapter 46-45. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Sister. At this time, the third senior brother Yang Yuqin on the side shook his head and said, If I haven't stepped into the strongest realm yet, and you arrange it like this, even if I don't want to, but in order not to worry you, I will acquiesce to your arrange. But the problem is, I am now the strongest. If you become the strongest, you can enter the Babel Tower at any time to improve your strength and prepare for possible disasters in the future. As a member of this world, it is my duty to protect this world, Yang Yuqin said loudly. Before Huangfu Mingyuan could speak, Duan Lingtian's second senior brother Hong Yifeng and fourth senior sister Lang Chunyuan also spoke one after another, and the meaning they expressed was the same as Yang Yuqin. Now that they have all stepped into the supreme power, they naturally do not want to be flowers in the greenhouse. They have to rely on their own efforts to create a world and even catch up with the senior sister. As for the younger brother, that was a complete pervert, and they had no interest in pursuing it. Huangfu Mingyuan wanted to persuade them again, but after seeing the determination on the three people's faces, she couldn't help but sigh. That's it, let you go. We are all powerful people now, no longer the little monks we used to be. Duan Lingtian, who saw that senior sister was a little depressed, smiled and comforted him. Senior sister, the two senior brothers, and the fourth senior sister have made such a decision. It's excusable. If any of my family, relatives, or friends step into the strongest realm, I'm afraid it will be the same. I don't want to hide in the little world inside my body. Although he can practice normally in the small world inside his body, and it is not even slower than outside, but compared to the outside, many aspects are much boring. After all, the outside world is a big dye vat of society, full of variety, and in the small world inside his body, there was very little life. Regarding this point, Duan Lingtian actually thought of a way to solve it. He has already planned to go to the Realm Master Xiao Mubai to discuss whether the Land of Divine Relics can be completely integrated into the small world inside his body. In this way, his family and friends can feel like they are in the Land of Divine Relics in the past, and the Land of Divine Relics can be this piece of land the life on the earth has skyrocketed. However, if the small world inside his body is completely integrated, it will be inconvenient for the life on the Land of Divine Relics to leave the Land of Divine Relics and go to the other planes of gods and even the planes of the heavens. Since he hadn't discussed it with Xiao Mubai yet, he didn't mention it to his family. Yes, senior sister, don't worry, we will definitely take care of ourselves. The fourth senior sister Lang Chunyuan also comforted her at the right time. Duan Yintian, who was not far away, heard the exchange between his father and his disciples, and suddenly looked envious. It would be great if I was also the strongest. Then you don't have to hide in the little world inside your father's body. Duan Niantian had a headache when he thought of his father's boring little world inside his body. It was not as good as the little world inside his father's body that was parted and used as a land of divine relics. However, his father's attitude was very tough just now, and he did not want him to continue to stay in the land of divine heritage. This made him helpless and powerless. Soon, Huangfu Mingyuan and the others said goodbye and left. They planned to enter the Babel Tower again to further improve their strength. Duan Lingtian sent his family and friends into the small world inside his body. Then, he told his master Feng Qingyang his plan. Incorporate the life on the sacred land into the small world inside your body? Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, Feng Qingyang's eyes lit up. If this happens, it will be like an extra level of protection for those lives. That is, there will be appropriate restrictions on personal freedom. Yes, so I need to discuss it with World Master Xiao. Duan Lingtian nodded. Soon, he sent a message and found the world leader Xiao Mubai. After hearing Duan Lingshan's plan, Xiao Mubai pondered for a moment and said, "This matter is easy to handle. You can directly integrate the sacred land into the small world inside your body. Before that, let me make an announcement to the lives on the land of divine relics. It is said that in half a year, the land of divine relics will be closed for 10,000 years. During this period, you will no longer be able to travel to and from the other planes of gods, nor can you enter the plane battlefield. In this way, those who are unwilling to accept it will naturally leave the land of divine heritage. Those who are willing to accept it will stay in the land of the gods." After listening to Xiao Mubai's suggestion, Duan Lingtian nodded. This was actually a good idea. That side of the realm formation? Duan Lingtian asked again. The part of the small world inside his body that he separated into the land of divine relics now also plays the role of the array eye of the great formation of the god realm. If he suddenly leaves, it will inevitably cause harm to the great formation of the realm. Have some impact. It's a small thing. Xiao Mubai smiled and said, "While you take back the land of the gods, I can find someone to separate the small world and the body and open another plane of the gods. In this way, the matter will be solved." The following few days, the land of divine relics has also become the focus of everyone's attention in the plane of gods in the anti-god realm. Just because news suddenly came out from the land of divine heritage, saying that in half a year, the land of divine heritage will be completely closed. For the next 1,000 years, it will no longer be possible to travel to and from the various planes of gods, nor to go there. Other places can only stay inside honestly. In other respects, everything remains unchanged. In fact, the richness of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth will be greatly increased, and life cultivation on the land of divine heritage will be more effective with half the effort. The reason why he said 1,000 years instead of 10,000 years, as discussed with Xiao Mubai, was due to Duan Lingshan's careful consideration. Thousands of years have finally taken a long time. Thousands of years are fine. As for after 1,000 years, he can connect the land of divine relics to the planes of gods, so that those who want to leave can leave, and those who want to come in can come in. It will be open for half a year, and then closed again for 1,000 years, until the guess is fulfilled. A possible disaster is coming. It didn't bother him. After all, everything is for your family, relatives, and friends to live in a more comfortable humanistic environment. If there were no other lives around, it would be no different than being locked up in a cage by a group. As for the improvement of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth after the land of divine heritage is closed, it is not without purpose. Once the land of divine heritage is completely integrated into Duan Lingshan's inner world, he will be able to enjoy the spiritual energy of heaven and earth floating from that almost uninhabited area. Helps practice and improve strength. Where are you going? Go to the land of divine relics. The land of divine relics will be closed for 1,000 years in half a year. During the 1,000 years, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth will increase dramatically. You can get twice the result with half the effort by practicing there. Similar remarks are everywhere in the other planes of gods. This also caused the life of the sacred land to increase instead of decreasing. Although some people left, more people came in. Chapter 46:46. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Half year later, Duan Lingtian completely integrated the sacred land of many cultivators into the small world inside his body and placed it in a relatively central area, perfectly connected to the location of the divine tree of life. Certainly, in the area where the divine tree of life is located, he has arranged some means to prevent people from easily peeking into it. Even if a powerful world master has enough strength to break in, he will know it immediately once he gets close. However, there are no powerful Jezun in the land of divine relics now, and even the most powerful ones are not many. Most people don't know his purpose for doing this, but the most powerful ones do. Therefore, many of the strongest people left early. After all, you will stay here for 1,000 years. After 1,000 years, Duan Lingtian will give the people inside a chance to go to other planes of gods. Although, as the most powerful people, they knew that if they begged Duan Lingtian, they would be able to leave the land of divine relics. However, everyone has time to practice in seclusion, especially those with a cultivation level like Duan Lingtian. In their opinion, it is not uncommon to stay in seclusion for hundreds or thousands of years. Putting away the sacred land also meant that his family and friends had been settled. At this time, Duan Lingtian felt that there was no pressure and he felt light. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment, and then his eyes became weird. I have taken all the land of divine relics into the small world inside my body, and the 1,000-year catastrophe that heaven targets against ordinary cultivators still can appear in mine out of thin air, a small world inside the body? He couldn't help being surprised. Although in the past, a part of the small world in his body served as the land of divine heritage, whether it was a 1,000-year catastrophe for ordinary cultivators or a 10,000-year catastrophe for the most powerful, it all happened as promised, but he was not surprised. Because of him, the divided sacred land is not closed. It has the same nature as other planes of gods. But now, he deliberately closed the small world inside his body, but found that the rules of heaven seemed to be pervasive. Even the people hiding in the small world inside his body could not escape the 1,000-year catastrophe. The same is probably true for the 10,000 years of heavenly tribulation. That's right. If we can really avoid disasters like this, no one will be afraid of natural disasters anymore. Duan Lingtian thought about it and felt relieved again, feeling that the way of heaven should be so powerful. At the same time, he was even more scornful of old man Wukong's views on the way of heaven in the past. The old man deceived him quite a lot. For a long time, he felt that if a cultivator stepped into the 9th level of the strongest, he would be able to take one step forward, on par with the way of heaven. Now it seems that the power of heaven is far beyond imagination. Master, Duan Lingtian planned to spend the rest of the time in the Heavenly Emperor's Palace in Annihilation Heaven, except for entering the Tongtian Tower. He would be with his master and exchange swordsmanship with each other. Maybe one day he would accumulate enough to push the other party to a higher level. Although his family and friends are all in the small world inside his body, and he can enter the Babel Tower in this way, there is no way to open the small world inside the Babel Tower. It is obvious that the law of heaven intentionally restricts stowaways. Not long after staying in the Nirvana Emperor's Palace, Duan Lingtian saw a figure he hadn't seen for a long time. Master's wife. The person who came was none other than his junior wife, Xue Qingzhu. He is also one of the city lords of the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty in the land outside the boundary. He is also the first among the 13 city lords to reach the 7th level of the most powerful. In the past 1,000 years, 2 more city lords from the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty have successively entered the 7th level of the most powerful. This has also made the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty one of the most powerful forces in the outside world, even more powerful than the second one that has been born. The 7th strongest, the Bibo Tianfu of this level, is even stronger. Another saint from Bibo Tianfu has also entered the 7th level of the most powerful in recent years. Duan Lingshan's old acquaintance, the master of the Golden Dragon Palace, Xiao Tianxi, has also stepped into the saint realm a long time ago. Last time Duan Lingtian went to the outside world to relax and meet him, it can be seen that it won't take long for him to step into the strongest realm. 7th level. The Qingyun Saint Sect Realm Master Zhaoani, who helped Duan Lingtian capture the man who killed the half-saint Duan Yue in the night, also successfully entered the 7th level of the most powerful hundreds of years ago. Of course, he learned about Zhao Enyus' breakthrough from Ming Han. Xiao Tian. Xue Qingzhu had been a Taoist couple with Feng Qingyang for some time, and since they were from the martial arts world, Xue Qingzhu had long since lost his initial shyness and greeted Duan Lingtian calmly and generously. Master wife, this time you entered the Babel Tower, have you made a breakthrough in swordsmanship? Duan Lingtian asked with a smile. If he breaks through, there will be something good to watch. He can see the scene of his master being brutally tortured by his own wife, and he is looking forward to it just thinking about it. It's not that easy to break through. Xue Qingzhu sighed. The 8th level of swordsmanship seems to be right in front of you, but it is difficult to take the crucial step. I admire you for letting swordsmanship enter the 3rd level so early. The 8th level, thus becoming the world, is the first most powerful 8th level person in the land outside the boundary. Originally, Duan Lingtian wanted to keep a low profile during his last breakthrough, but the problem is, God forbids him to keep a low profile. The text of Heavenly Tao actually appeared again and was announced to all parties, saying that he had broken through to the 8th level of power and became the first person of the 8th level after the break of history. That time, all the worlds and places outside the world were boiling with excitement. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect Duan Lingtian to take the next step so quickly and become the first being in the contemporary generation to step into the 8th level of the strongest. Damn it! Lei Hong, who was lurking somewhere in the Mingguang realm, changed his expression when he saw the Tiandao text about Duan Lingtian's breakthrough. He cursed repeatedly. Why did this kid break through first? This makes him feel more uncomfortable than losing his cultivation level. Seeing that the master's wife had come out, Duan Lingtian did not intend to make a light bulb and entered the Babel Tower again. But this time, he came out of Babel Tower on the 3rd day after entering, just because his law clone received a message, not only in the Nishan realm, but also in other realms with 9 mysterious entrances in the 10,000 realms. One mysterious entrance suddenly and mysteriously disappeared. This made many people who paid attention to the mysterious entrance feel creepy. Among them, Duan Lingtian was also included. When something goes wrong, there must be a monster. What is happening? After Duan Lingtian came out, he immediately gathered with his master and his wife. At the same time, Realm Master Xiao Mubai and Zhang Shan, who had stepped into the 7th level of the strongest, also came. The expressions on their faces were all changed. Extraordinarily solemn. The news first came from Hongming realm. Xiao Mubai said solemnly, because 3 powerful 7th level experts died in Hongming realm last time, many people paid great attention to those 9A mysterious entrants. Just yesterday, someone discovered that one of the mysterious entrances suddenly disappeared. After the news spreads, today, including our Nishan realm, all the realms with 9 mysterious entrances have lost 1 mysterious entrance. Chapter 46-47. Next, it's better to be careful. Feng Qingyang spoke in a deep voice. The 9 mysterious entrances that had existed for countless years, or that had existed since the beginning of history, suddenly and strangely lost one at this time. It was hard to avoid making people ponder and even speculate. In the past, he and his disciple Duan Lingtian had guessed that Tiandao planned to let them resist the invading enemies behind the mysterious entrance, so they opened the Babel Tower to help increase their strength. They have made many preparations recently, and they are also prepared for the enemy to invade behind the 9 mysterious entrances. But I didn't expect, at this time, a mysterious entrance suddenly disappeared strangely. Several people are still talking about it. Suddenly, Realm Master Xiao Mubai's expression suddenly changed. What's wrong? Zhang Shan on the side was the first to notice something was wrong with Xiao Mubai's expression and couldn't help but ask. For a moment, Duan Lingtian, Feng Qingyang, and Xue Qingzhu all looked at Xiao Mubai. Based on their understanding of this Xiao Realm Master, unless there was something shocking, they would not let him be like this at all. That's right. Did something happen again? Duan Lingtian subconsciously asked, "Did the enemy invade as the mysterious entrance disappeared?" No. Under the eyes of several people, Xiao Mubai took a deep breath, his lips trembling slightly. The other 8 mysterious entrances have all disappeared. However, currently we only know that our Nishan realm has disappeared, and the other realms the domain doesn't know yet. When the first mysterious entrance disappeared, Xiao Mubai went to check it out personally. After confirming, he asked people to pay attention to the other 8 mysterious entrances. Just now, he received 8 messages one after another. The people he arranged to monitor the other 8 mysterious entrances all sent messages to his law avatars staying in his training place, telling him all the 8 mysterious entrances. Disappearing message. What? Feng Qingyang's expression changed. The other 8 mysterious entrances also disappeared together? Duan Lingshan's pupils couldn't help but shrink. Xue Qingzhu stood aside, with a look of surprise and horror on her pretty face. Although she was not a native of the Nishan realm, when she became a Taoist couple with Feng Qingyang, she also learned about the 9 mysterious entrances to some realms of the world. I understand and have heard the speculations of the Taoist couple and their disciples. She also felt that the guess might be true. But since it is true, what happened to this sudden emergency situation? Why did all 9 mysterious entrances disappear? Could it be that Tiandao has repelled the invading enemies, so the 9 mysterious entrances have disappeared one after another? Xue Qingzhu guessed subconsciously impossible. Feng Qingyang shook his head. If Tiandao had the ability to repel the invading enemies, how could he have allowed the 9 mysterious entrances to exist for so many years? If he really had that ability, why would he have arranged it on the Babel Tower? Is that necessary? I always feel that this matter may not be as simple as I guessed. Duan Lingtian also deeply agreed with Feng Qingyang's statement. Let's wait and see what happens next. I don't think something is right either. First check whether the other 8 mysterious entrances in other realms with mysterious entrances in the world have disappeared. This is actually very easy to confirm. Xiao Mubai and Zhang Shan went out and quickly brought back confirmed news. The other 8 mysterious entrances in the major realms also disappeared. The time of disappearance was basically the same as the 8 mysterious entrances in our Nishan realm. The mysterious entrance disappeared at the same time. However, the major realms are still calm, and there are no signs of invasion by powerful people, Xiao Mubai said. And almost at the same time Xiao Mubai finished his words. Suddenly, dark clouds gathered in the sky, purple thunder entangled, and it was a familiar scene. It was not difficult for people in all worlds, and even those outside the world, to see that this was a sign that the heavenly words were about to appear. Sure enough, the Tiandao text soon appeared. From now on, the Babel Tower will open the 3rd entrance entwined with cyan thunder. This entrance will appear on the side of the other 2 entrances. All beings above the high-ranking gods can enter. If you pass any level inside, you will be able to enter. You will receive corresponding rewards. The 3rd entrance to the place is called the trial space. No matter you are a high-ranking or the most powerful person, you can enter. The rewards inside include but are not limited to the Talisman of Heaven and the realization of the 4 realms of heaven and earth at the 9th level. When this heavenly text appeared, all the worlds, and even the places outside the world, all boiled. However, Duan Lingtian and others looked at each other in confusion after reading the Tiandao text. The few of them were just talking about the disappearance of all 9 mysterious entrances. In the blink of an eye, the text of Tiandao appeared, and the Babel Tower opened the 3rd function of trial space. Moreover, can you get the Talisman of Heaven in it? And the insights into the 4 realms of heaven and earth at the 9th level? Why do I feel like Tiandao is constantly urging people to enter the Tower of Babel? After all, Xue Qingzhu is a woman and should be more careful. From the fact that Tiandao text informed this news at this time, combined with the 9 mysterious entrances that mysteriously disappeared, she also felt that something was wrong. In particular, after the Tiandao text, a line appeared again. The 3rd entrance to Babel Tower is only open for 1 month. Those who do not enter within 1 month will have to wait 1,000 years before they have the opportunity to enter again. The appearance of this line of Tiandao text completely changed the expressions of Duan Lingtian and others. In the past, there was no precedent for such closing of the other two entrances to the Tower of Babel. And now, the third entrance is said to be closed after 1 month of opening? Will it open again after 1,000 years? Isn't this urging people above the gods to enter it? Now, those beings above the gods are probably crazy, Zhang Shan murmured. Something is not quite right. I will go to the entrance of Jade Emperor's Babel Tower and not let them in yet. Wait for more than 20 days, and then check the situation. After all, Shamubai is the master of the anti-god realm, and he is still very concerned about the safety of the creatures in the anti-god realm at critical moments. Although he felt that it was a bit ridiculous for heaven to take action against all living beings, what happened before and after had to make him wary. I will also go back to the place outside the boundary and ask the beings above the gods in the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty not to enter the Babel Tower for the time being. Xue Qingzhu was also anxious. In addition to her Taoist companions in the Nishan realm, she also had another home outside the realm. There were many people she cared about there, and she didn't want to see anything happen to them. They'll go with you. Seeing the anxiety of his fellow Taoist, Feng Qingyang said repeatedly and left with Xue Qingzhu. Father, I saw the words of Tian Dao. I want to enter the Tower of Babel. In the small world inside Duan Lingshan's body, his son Duan Yintian returned to the Divine Tree of Life, communicated with him through the Divine Tree of Life, and expressed his desire to enter the trial space of the Tower of Babel. As early as a few years ago, his son Duan Yintian entered the realm of high-ranking gods. At the same time, Duan Lingtian took a look inside, and it was not difficult to find that in the small world inside his body, in the area of the Land of Divine Relics, a group of beings above the gods were regretting why they came to the Land of Divine Relics, or why never leave the sacred place. The Land of Divine Relics will be closed for thousands of years. Therefore, even if they saw the Tiandao text and coveted the trial space leading to the third entrance of the Babel Tower, they had no choice but to wait until the next trial space was opened before they could enter. Chapter 46-48. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Originally, Duan Lingtian did not intend to pay attention to these people. However, when he finally looked at the Land of Divine Relics, there were actually many people who had conflicts because of this. He didn't want the Land of Divine Relics to be messed up, so he immediately separated the Land of Divine Relics from all the gods in the Nishan realm. Plain connection, those who want to leave the Land of Divine Relics can do so within the next month. In 1 month, the Land of Divine Heritage will be closed for at least 1,000 years. Duan Lingshan's voice, like a loud bell, spread throughout the Land of Divine Heritage, like a supreme creation talking to the many lives he created. As Duan Lingtian spoke, the Land of Divine Relics suddenly boiled. Isn't it just for this moment that many of them started making trouble? They can finally leave and go to the Tower of Babel to seek their chance. Of course, these people are basically high-ranking gods. As for the most powerful people, those who stayed in the Land of Divine Heritage were basically those who had good relations with the most powerful person from the Xia family in the Land of Divine Heritage. They all learned about some potential risks from Duan Lingtian, but there were no planning to leave. Moreover, as the most powerful people, it is easy for them to leave. They can talk to Duan Lingtian directly. Even if it is not convenient for them to talk to Duan Lingtian, they can still find people who are convenient to talk to Duan Lingtian, such as people from the Xia family in the Land of Gods. That is also the natal family of Duan Lingshan's wife. Father, you let them go. Why did you restrict me from going out? Duan Yintian also wanted to enter the Tower of Babel. His goal and pursuit was his father, but with his current strength, he felt that his chances of catching up with his father were extremely slim. Now that he had the opportunity to overtake in a corner, he naturally didn't want to make a mistake. Pass the chance. Just be patient. Duan Lingtian was very pleased with his son's ambition to become stronger, but he didn't get used to it today. He beat him first and then reasoned with him. After learning about his father's concerns, Duan Yintian calmed down for a while, but he couldn't help but secretly cursed in his heart. Can't you just tell me the reason directly? Is it necessary to beat me first? I have never seen my father beat up Xiling. It's too biased. Duan Lingtian didn't know what his son was thinking, and even if he knew, he wouldn't care. In the next period of time, Duan Lingtian paid close attention to the situation in the outside world. He also heard about the news from the Jade Emperor in Nishan Realm. Realm Lord Xiao Mubai wanted to stop people from entering at first, but it backfired. There are too many high-ranking gods. He can't keep them all, can he? He could only stop some powerful people who were ready to make a move. Of course, this is also because he knows very well that even if he stops everyone here, these people will definitely find a way to leave the Nishan Realm, go to the entrance of the Babel Tower outside the Nishan Realm, and enter the Babel Tower. The benefits promised by heaven are so attractive. Certainly, during this period of time, people also came out of the Tower of Babel one after another, all of whom had previously entered the second entrance of the Tower of Babel. There are people who go against the realm of gods, and there are also people who live outside the realm. On the side of the Nishan Realm, Duan Lingtian contacted the law clone of Huangfu Mingyuan, the senior sister of the inner palace of Wanfa Academy, and told her that the matter was suspicious. After the other party heard about it, he immediately asked me to leave the Babel Tower. Out from inside coming. As for the second senior brother, the third senior brother, and the fourth senior sister, they also all had their clones outside and came out one after another. Beyond the boundary, the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty also became agitated with the return of the former 7th city lord Xue Qingzhu. Although the beings in the outside world have no rules, they still leave things outside. Once someone touches those things, something urgent has happened. They will be aware of it and rush back from the outside as soon as possible. Therefore, the strongest men in the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty also came out of the Tongtian Tower one by one. Even though the newly opened third entrance of Babel Tower is very attractive, they trust Xue Qingzhu even more, because Xue Qingzhu has led the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty to achieve many benefits and glory since his rise, and has never let the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty suffer. Deficit. They had almost blind trust in Xue Qingzhu. On Bibo Tianfu's side, before Feng Qingyang left with Xue Qingzhu, Duan Lingtian specially said hello to him and asked him to remind Bibo Tianfu, and at the same time asked Bibo Tianfu to inform Qingzhu nearby. Yunsheng sect. They are all forces that have some friendship with him. At this critical moment, he decided to give a reminder. Whether they believe it or not is up to them. Next, when the beings above the gods in the 10,000 realms and the land beyond the boundary were all keen to enter the Tower of Babel, the 10,000 realms and the land beyond the realm seemed to be much calmer than before. Because there were so many fewer people, there were naturally fewer people. Less disputes. A peaceful and calm scene. Time flies. 32 years passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Duan Lingtian, as usual, stayed in the Nirvana heaven, one of the heavenly planes in the Nishan realm, to meditate, comprehend the way of swordsmanship, and sprint to the 9th level. Although he doesn't know what will happen next, the improvement in strength will undoubtedly bring him more protection, allowing him to protect himself and his family and friends at the same time. This is something he is still practicing hard to this day. The motivation of practicing lies. Boom. Suddenly, an earth-shaking loud noise swept from the end of the horizon, making the earth tremble. A large number of buildings in the Nirvana Emperor's palace collapsed because of this. A vast and majestic force, accompanied by a loud noise from the sky, arrived as promised and swept across all directions. Right here. Found it. You Luaha, you practice the forbidden life sacrifice method, which is not tolerated by all living beings in the divine land. Today, we will lock you in your position, and we will kill you. One after another, voices seemed to come from outside the sky, many of which were harsh and scolding. Along with it, there are also extremely terrifying powers. These forces were not impacting the anti-god realm, but were clearly clashing in the distance. However, the aftermath of their power still caused the space where the Nirvana sky was to be fragmented and crumbling, giving people a feeling that the mirror was about to disappear in the blink of an eye. That is, as soon as Duan Lingtian rose into the air, he saw a familiar giant tower appearing in the distance on the horizon. It was the Babel Tower. Then, the Tower of Babel suddenly exploded, turning into bright white fireworks, and countless shrill and desperate screams came out from inside, which was heart-stopping and shocking. You alone want to kill me? Ridiculous. Another disdainful voice sounded, shaking all directions. The sound was like muffled thunder, and the power that arose immediately collided with several other sudden forces, causing the nirvana sky to be completely shattered and turned into powder in an instant. And Duan Lingtian also appeared in the turbulent space. The master, his wife, and others who were originally within his sight also disappeared behind the shattered annihilation heaven, as if they were so close to him in the blink of an eye. Not good dash. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian seemed to have noticed something, and his expression suddenly changed. He found that the small world inside his body was strangely turbulent. The originally strong divine tree of life became dim in an instant. Most of the divine water for purifying the world in it evaporated in the blink of an eye. Its breath was sluggish, as if the Buddha's oil is exhausted and the lamp dries up. How is this going? Duan Lingtian was stunned, completely stunned. Before he had time to intervene, even before the divine tree of life and the divine water of purification had time to communicate with him, they destroyed themselves one after another, and their auras disappeared in an instant. The little world inside his body collapsed instantly. The land of divine heritage was also shattered. Chapter 46-49. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. At the critical moment, Duan Lingtian could no longer care about the group of people in the land of divine relics, and could only care about a few relatives near the newly destroyed divine tree of life. His wives and his parents. Other family members and friends are all in this sacred place. The power of law is destroyed? When Duan Lingtian took action, it was obvious that he could not sense the power of space law, and even the power of other laws was gone. The only means he could use were his own power, and there are 4 realms in the world. Although his strength is much weaker, he still doesn't have much pressure to protect his wife and parents. Xiling, Niantian, and the others. While protecting his wife and parents, Duan Lingtian wanted to find his children and other family members and friends, but found that the vast number of creatures in the sacred land disappeared one after another into the fragmented turbulent space. And he wants the person you are looking for is also inside and cannot be noticed at all. He unfolded his consciousness and could only feel the breath disappearing into the crumbling turbulent space. Wow! Wow! As if a strange storm swept through, the turbulent space was quickly fragmented. At the same time, Duan Lingtian only felt a pulling force, shrouding him and his wife and parents who were protecting him, constantly shaking in the shattered turbulent space. Drag, vibrate. During this period, he could hear the fierce fighting sound quickly disappearing. He just came back to his senses and wanted to resist the pulling force, but found that the pulling force disappeared in the next step. When he came back to his senses, his eyes were clear, but he appeared in a vast expanse of mountains and rivers. Above, the smell permeating the air is completely different from any space I have been to before. It is somewhat like what his master described, the world behind the 9 mysterious entrances to the Nishan realm and many realms. How is this going? Duan Lingtian was a little confused. Are we forcibly sent into the world behind the mysterious entrance? At the same time, in his mind, he was constantly recalling the previous sounds coming from the horizon, as well as the scene of the Babel Tower being shattered, which he would never forget. What happened? This is Duan Lingtian's doubts, and also the doubts of his wife and parents who were still by his side after Duan Lingtian protected him. Brother Tian, what happened? Kier looked at Duan Lingtian, with doubts and confusion in his eyes. He glanced around, with astonishment on his face. Just now, was I dazzled? I saw the divine tree of life broken. Sister Shui also disappeared. Also, I feel no more power of law. When Duan Lingtian was in the small world inside his body, his wife got along very well with Jingshi Shenshui, and they were treated like sisters. Huaner, Li Fei, and Feng Tianwu all looked at Duan Lingtian at this time. In their eyes, this man was there and their backbone. Because of this, after this man sensed the crisis and incorporated the land of divine relics into the small world within his body, in order to prevent him from worrying too much about them, they all stayed honestly next to the divine tree of life, practicing there, and without there are experiences in sacred places. Duan Lingtian's parents, Duan Rufeng and Li Ro, have always lived a life of retirement. They thought it was good to be near the divine tree of life, so they never left. But they didn't expect that it was their decision that caused the small world inside Duan Lingshan's body to be shattered, and after the turbulent space was shattered, they did not disappear from Duan Lingshan's side like the others, but were protected by Duan Lingtian in time. Come down. I don't know what happened yet. Duan Lingtian shook his head, and at the same time he breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Since they were safe and sound, he expected that the others were also the same. I just don't know where they were sent. Looking back now, that last pulling force was obviously the pulling force of space when the turbulent space was shattered. When that space force was completely shattered, they regained their freedom and were no longer affected. The power of law cannot be sensed. At this time, Huaner frowned slightly and said, "It's not just that I can't sense the power of the law." Duan Lingtian sighed and said, "Not long ago, I was still in the Nirvana Emperor's palace, and suddenly, there was a combined force breaking through the sky, and then there were several loud shouts." Duan Lingtian told them the situation at that time. "We saw it too." Li Fei said, "At that time, a person shouted something, 'You Luaha. You practice the forbidden life sacrifice method, which is not tolerated by all living beings in the divine land. Today, we will lock you in your position, and we will kill you. You know that you Luaha Luohi? Can you see it too?" Duan Lingtian was stunned for a moment. He had clearly closed the small world inside his body tightly at that time, but he did not expect that the people inside also saw that scene. At that time, the Tower of Babel also appeared, and at the same time it shattered, and countless screams were heard. Feng Tianwu continued. After some exchanges with his wives, Duan Lingtian also realized that the destruction of the small world in his body was probably not the only one. The small worlds in other people's bodies were also shattered in all likelihood, because the existence of the small world within the body has a certain connection with the power of space. After those loud shouts came and the Tower of Babel was shattered, the whole world seemed to be in chaos. Everything related to the power of the law was shattered. After the Nirvana heaven was shattered, he wandered in the turbulent space, but the turbulent space was also shattered shortly after. At that time, he discovered that the power of law seemed to have disappeared strangely. Now, in this strange world, he can't sense any power of laws here. It's not right. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian remembered something again. "I remember Master said that he went into the world behind the mysterious entrance and struck with all his strength. I didn't hear him mention that he couldn't use the power of law in that world. What's going on? Things seem to be different from what we guessed before. Then who is Yuluo? Those people seem to be attacking him because he practiced some forbidden life sacrifice method. It also mentioned all living beings," Duan Lingtian murmured. The sound was not loud, but people around him could hear it clearly. Could it be that this is some kind of sacred land? Duan Rufeng opened his mouth and guessed. At this time, Li Ro next to him also had a worried look on her face. Xiling and Yintian, the children, were all in the land of gods before, and the in-laws, Xuanai, Xiaohei, Xiaobai and Xiaojian, they all have a certain amount of strength, so there shouldn't be much danger for the time being. Duan Lingtian also calmed down at this time, knowing that it was useless to be impatient. The top priority was to first understand the world he was in now. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.